Hi, this is Juliana, and today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful tropical paradise necklace. The beads I used to create this necklace came from the Sunset Swell Beads collection from Eureka Crystal. The collection's already sold out as of the date I'm taping this, but they list their supplies from the collection separately, and I will leave links to that in the description below so you can purchase them that way, or you can purchase the beads and supplies from your favorite vendor. The supplies we're going to need for this project are a clasp of some kind. This is the one that came from the collection, this toggle. Magatama beads, Ado Chaton, a trillion bead, crystal. I'm not sure what size that is, but I will list it in the description. These are two different sizes of Chinese rondelles. Again, I'll list the sizes in the description. This is gem duos, 6mm pearls, 215-0 round Miyukis in different colors, or you can actually just do the same color, your choice. The different colors are, one is for the bezel, and I used a different color for the toggle, but you don't have to. Size 11-0 delicas, size 8-0 Miyuki rounds, and size 11-0 Miyuki rounds. Did I mention the jump rings? Okay. And that's it. So let's get started. We're going to start with this little unit right here. And with your gemstones here, you want to make sure that when you start your project, both of these sides are patent. Because nothing's worse than getting in the middle of your project and having them not be. Also, there's a flat side and a puffy side, or a rounded side to these gemstones, gem duos rather. So you want to make sure that when you're loading them, you have them all on the same side. It doesn't really matter which side at this point, but you can see on this, the puffier, rounder side is on the top, and the flatter side is what our stone is laying against. So when you're putting them on your thread, make sure they're all on this, going the same way. And on our thread, we're going to, did I say this? I added about a wingspan of 6-pound fireline to my needle. You probably only need about a half a wingspan, but I went ahead and put a wingspan because I'm going to also do this on that same thread. We are adding 2 gemstones, 2 15-0s, an 8-0, 2 15-0s, and you're going to do that 3 times. And then slide your beads down and leave yourself about a 4-inch tail, 4 to 6, so you can weave it back in later. And then I'm going to go back through all those beads again. And just take your time when you're doing this, because it's easy to miss a bead. And then you have a thread showing where you don't want it to be showing. Nobody wants that. When you get around to the other side, you're going to go through both of those gem duos that you started with. And pull all that snug. You have a cute little ring just like that. And then we're going to go up through the second hole of the gem duo that you're coming out of. And I'm going to turn this a little so I can bead in the right direction. Just flip it over. Can't seem to keep a hold of this thing. Alright, and you're going to add a 15-0, a pearl, and a 15-0. Go through the top of the next gem duo. I'm going to add a 15-0. The larger of the two rondelles we're using, which in my case is a pink one. The Magatama beads, which I like to call the cute little drops because I'm never sure if I'm pronouncing Magatama correctly. Another rondelle. I don't know why these are always so hard to chase down. And another 15-0. And go through the top of the next gem duo. It's just a mess with that thread in the way. Okay. And we're going to do that 2 more times, and I will see you back here. Alright, I'm coming up to my last set of Magatama. And I'm going through that gem duo, the 15-0 and the pearl. Pull everything snug. And you've got something that looks like that. I'm going to go ahead through all these other little beads along my bead path until I get to the Magatama and come out of that. Pull snug, pick up an 8-0. I'm going to go right down into this 8-0 below the Magatama. Pick up an 8-0. And go back through the Magatama and the beads next to it. Pull it snug. Now we're going to work our way around to the next Magatama, and we're going to do exactly the same thing for all 3 of them. And then we'll be back. I'm on my last 8-0 here, going back through that 3rd Magatama. I'm just going to go through the Magatama bead. And then I'm going to go down through the 8-0 just below that. And through that middle 8-0. Now, I'm on the bottom of the piece. And the way I know that is because my gems and my gem duos are flat on this side. This is where I'm going to make the little basket for our beautiful trillion to sit in. So I'm going to pick up 6 15-0s. You know what, before we do that, why don't we go ahead and thread this, and we are going to knock this out of the way. Let me go ahead and thread that and I'll be back. Alright, I got my tail thread threaded, needle put on it. I'm coming out of this gem duo right here, so I'm just going to go through, follow my thread path, go through. Let's just go through those first 2 15-0s. Oh, I almost unthreaded. And let's pull that snug. We want to keep that inner circle kind of snug. And then go under that thread and tie a half hitch knot. Do the 8-0, the 2 15-0s. Half hitch. And one more. And go through these 15 rows. One more half hitch. And then through a couple more beads just to get away from my knot. Pull that needle off and get rid of that tail thread. And I'm not generally so messy on my bead mat here, but this bead mat, the beads just bounce all over the place. They're like little runaways. Burning that off. Try not to burn my finger. You know, like little runaways, I don't like when they bounce off your table. I hate that. I'll chase them down like a lost child. I hate it when they run off. But these things just slide on the bead mat. Okay, back to just our working thread now. Pick up 6 15-0s. One delicate bead. I love the color of these. It's such a beautiful neutral. And 6 more 15-0s. And you're coming out of this 8-0 right here. And we're going to go into the next 8-0. Like that. We are going to do that 2 more times, and we'll be back. So we've got all 3 of our little 15-0 delicas on our little petals there that are going to hold our crystal. And we're coming out of that 8-0 right there. And we're going to go up through these 15-0s too, and how nicely color-coded this delica is for us, through the delica bead in the center. And then I'm going to pick up my trillion and kind of sit it in there. And behold, it's slippery, you got to kind of hold on to it. And I have that point pointing toward the delica there. Not toward the 8-0s, but toward the mid-delica. Pick up a delica and go through the next delica. Kind of lightly pull it. You don't need to pull it snug just yet. Pick up a delica through the next delica. Pull it a little bit lightly. I'll help you hold that crystal in. Pick up a delica, and you're going to go into the last delica bead. Now that you can pull things a little snugger. Is snugger a word? I don't know. And you're going to just go through all of these beads, these little delicas. 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes I've done it 6 times. Until you get that really snug and secure. That crystal is really secure in that little basket. And when you're finished with this, you're pretty much finished with this unit. But because we are going to, I just left my thread right where it was. Well, I said I made this one with the thread, but I think I actually just left my thread with this one to do the connection. So you can cut it off and make your next bead with it if you want, or you can just leave it attached for when we connect our units together. So when you're finished with that, this little unit will be done. So you want to make 2 more of these in whichever colors you're using. And then we will meet back to start working on this one. Okay, so now we're going to work on this other little unit here, this one. We're going to start by picking up 20 delica beads. We have this beautiful neutral that's in the collection. Always check your bead count. It's just easier to do it now than to deal with the repercussions if you didn't do it. I swear this bead mat. And once you've got your 20, slide them down. Leave yourself a little tail thread about 4 inches. And go through all those beads again. Careful not to miss any. You don't have to do it all at once. You can do it in little sections. When you get around to the front again, to where your tail thread is, just go through the first couple of beads. Pull everything snug. Pull it snug, but not too tight. You're not going to be able to get your bead into peyote. So we're going to do some peyoteing now. We're going to pick up a delica. We're coming out of this bead right here. We're going to skip the next bead and go into the next one. Going to give it a little pull. Your beads should line up. If they don't, you can help them line up. So where you have 2 little beads side by side there. Pick up a delica. Skip the next bead. You're coming out of this. Skip the next bead. Go into the next one. If you put your thumb on top of it and hold it with your thumb and your middle finger, it helps it get into the right position. One more time. Pick up a delica. Skip the next bead. Go into the next one. And we are going to do that all the way around, and I will see you back here. Okay, I'm coming up to my last delica here. I'm going to move that tail thread. I've got one loaded on my thread. I'm going to skip this. I'm coming out of this bead right here. I'm going to skip the next one and go into the next one. And I'm going to catty corner up through the next one that's stepping up. So now you should have double bead, single bead, double bead, single bead, double bead, single bead all the way around. Now I'm going to pick up a delica. I'm coming out of this bead right here, what I like to call the pokey outies, as they're poking out from the ring. And I'm going into the next pokey outie delica. And now you have 2, 2, 2. Pick up a delica. Skip your single, go to the next pokey outie. And we're going to do that all the way around, and I will see you when we're done. Coming up to the last one here, I'm going to go through that pokey outie. They're leaving the single, go to the pokey outie, and the one above that to step up. Your little unit should be curving significantly here, and that's what we want it to do, because we're going to want it to hold that chaton. But not yet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull all that snug so that it does make that little band for the chaton. But I'm going to go ahead and thread this tail thread, and I will be back and show you how to weave that in. Okay, I've got my tail thread on, just barely apparently. And I am going to go ahead and weave this in. I am coming out of this little dolica right there. And I'm just going to go into its buddy right next door to it. And then up 3 more in kind of a diagonal line there. And I'm coming out of that one. I'm going to come back down its buddy next door and go back down 2, 3, 4 of them, however many I can catch. I got 4 that time. Again, go to its buddy next door. Just go up a couple of beads. Once you've done that a couple of times, I don't know why that is so goofy looking. Oh. You can go ahead and just tie off or burn off your thread. You just want to weave it a few times back and forth through different beads, but follow your thread path. You don't want any thread showing. And then once you've done that several times, it's pretty much knotted. It's not coming out of there. You can go ahead and get rid of your tail thread. You know, as clumsy as I am, I'm surprised I don't burn my finger off half the time. Alright, so now we just got our working thread left. I'm going to pull that around and get it in the shape it should be in, which is kind of like a little band. Put your little stone in there. So now we're going to, I'm not going to put that in yet. You're going to just have to hang on to it for dear life. I'm coming out of this bead right here. I'm going to pick up a 15-0, go to the next pokey outie delica. 15-0, next pokey outie. And pull it snug. 15-0, next pokey outie. And you're going to do that all the way around. It's going to pull things in a little bit. And we'll be back. Alright, I have my last 15-0 here, going through that next pokey outie, and the 15-0 that's next to it, stepping up. Whoa! Okay, it took flight. Get a little snugging. You have that. Now we're going to pick up a 15-0 and go through the next 15-0. Through the next 15-0. And we are going to do that all the way around. I have my last 15-0 here, coming out of this 15-0 right here, going through the next 15-0 and the one next to that to step up. Pulling all that snug, and you have something that looks like that. And then we are going to sit our stone in there. I'm going to put it face down. And it may take you a minute to get it in there and get it settled just right. You want to center it. So it looks like that. Such a pretty stone. And you can play with it until you get it seated just the way you want it seated. And then we're coming out of this 15-0 right here. We're going to go into the bead next to it. But whatever's going to, as a matter of fact, you can come right through this 15-0 next to it, and then right up through the delica next to that. And then we're going to flip it over and go to the adjacent delica, its little partner there, and the one next to that. So that we end up coming out of one of the pokey outy beads on the other side of our stone here. Coming out of a pokey outy bead, we pick up a 15-0 and go to the next pokey outy. 15-0, next pokey outy. And what we're going to do is exactly the same thing that we did on the other side. So that you're going to do this row and then one more row of those, and then we will meet back here. Alrighty, I'm coming up on my last 15-0 here. Going through that first 15-0 and the one above it, just to finish off that little circle. And now our bezel looks like this, with our little chaton all snug as a bug in there. And we are coming out of this 15-0 right here. I'm just going to go up through the one next to it. I'm going to turn my piece a little because I like to work that way, counterclockwise. And I'm going to go to the adjacent bead, coming out of this one, going into this one, and then the one right above that on the diagonal. Okay, so we're kind of coming out of that second row. We have the first row and the second row. We're coming out of one of those, and I'm going to pick up one of the smaller rondelles, if I can catch it, which in my situation is the blue one. I'm going to skip these two right in front of this bead I'm coming out of, and go into the one that's right in front of it. How do I explain that? Coming out of this one, going into that one. Vertically in front of it, I guess. Pick up a rondelle. Coming out of that bead. Go to the one kind of right, skip the two, go to the next one right in front of it, vertically. If I can quit catching my thread on everything in the universe. I'm going to do that one more time. Coming out of that one, skip these two, go to the one right in front of it. Along the same plane, line, whatever you want to call that. Wish I could say something geometrically smart, but it is what it is. I am creating these little spokes, and we're going to do that all the way around, and then we will come meet back here. Okay, I'm coming up on my last rondelle here. Going into that next one. That's right below the first one I put on. And pull that. You need to pull these snug when you do them, and sometimes when you're doing them, this will get twisted around like that. So just make sure it's not twisted on you, and that you pull them snug on there. And you should have something that looks like that. Then I'm going to go through that first rondelle. And I'm going to pick up an 8/0. I'm going to go through the next rondelle. 8/0 through the next rondelle. We're going to do that all the way around, and I will see you when we're done. On my last 8/0 here, got it loaded through this rondelle and through the 8/0 next to it. And that is your completed little component. So cute. Now you can go ahead and tie this off if you want to. You know, I tied off my last one, so I like to leave something to do the connection with. You don't have to. You can tie this off and just thread another needle to do your connection. It's no big deal. So however you want to do it, but I'll probably go through a couple more of these beads and then just pull my, you know, or leave my needle on or whatever. And then we will show you how to connect them on the next one. And now we're going to connect this piece to this piece, which is this piece to this piece. So the center of the star of the show, the center crystal, connects differently to these round pieces than the side ones do. So for the side crystal, and we'll get to that one later, for the side crystal, you're going to connect this rondelle that's up from the pearl, right next to the, right below the magatama from the top pearl, to one of the blue rondelles, the smaller rondelles in your little round unit. So coming out of this, I'm going to go down these 6/15-ohs. A lot of people will tie everything off right here, and so that this little unit is independent and on its own. Go ahead and, you know, in case you need to rearrange things or something breaks somewhere down the road, or for whatever reason, they'll just tie them off independently and then get a new thread to do the little connection part. I don't do that. What I usually do is tie half hitches along the path, and that way if I have to disconnect the connector, my component will still retain its shape. Threads won't be coming loose and things won't be falling apart. So usually I'll tie little half hitches along this path, go through the 8-0, the little middle 8-0 down there. Come up through this 8-0. And when I do that, I'm going to flip it to the front so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. And then I'm going to come down through this rondelle right next to the magatama. Just the rondelle, you don't want that 15-0 in there. Okay, and now you can see we are at this rondelle right here. So what we're going to do is pick up an 11-0, and we're going to get our gem duo and make sure that we are puffy up because we're on the front of the piece, that we want to have the same side up on the gem duo. And we're coming out of the bottom of this, so we want to go through the bottom of the gem duo. You want to pick up an 11-0 before you go through that rondelle. Okay. And now we have this. Pick up another 11-0. Go back through the top of the gem duo. Pick up an 11-0. And come back down through the other side of that larger rondelle on your larger piece. And you should have something that looks like that. And then all we're going to do is go through that same thread path about 3 times and just reinforce it to make sure it's good and strong and it's not going to come apart. And then I'll meet you back here. Okay, so we finished reinforcing everything. And now we've got these 2 little units connected. I know this might be a little confusing because my center unit here is pink, and this is supposed to be one of the side units. And this was the only trillion I had left. So this is allegedly a side unit in your piece, and you are connecting it through this pink rondelle and this blue rondelle, or the larger rondelle and the smaller rondelle. And on this necklace, I have this pearl sitting up on this piece, and you'll see in the centerpiece, I have a magatama sitting up. And it's connected through the pearl and not through the rondelle. So we finish this one, and what you want to do is you can either work your thread around to this side, and you're going to do the same exact connection on this side. Or if you want to tie it off and add another thread, you can do that too. So you're going to have this side piece with both of these connected through these larger rondelles. And it's the same on this side. Both of these connected through the larger rondelle. And then we will get to the centerpiece. Okay. I have attached my 2 8mm chatons to the trillium bead, and I'm using this little blue rondelle as attachment points on that one. And this is one of my side trillions. It's not the main star of the show here, which the main star of the show is going to be this pink one, which is going to be the centerpiece. And then the blues are going to be on either side of it. So I'm going to attach now this 8mm chaton to this centerpiece trillion, and instead of using the pink rondelle as an attachment point, I'm going to use this blue pearl. So we're going to pick up one 11-0 And we're going to pick up, oh, let me tell you what I'm coming out of first. I'm coming out of this center blue rondelle, so it lines up with that center one. And if you don't count this center one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from this side. So I'm coming out of that, and I'm coming out of the top of it. I'm going to pick up an 11-0. And my gem duo, make sure my puffy side is up because I'm on the front where everything's puffy. And then another 11-0. And I want to make sure my magatom is on the top. I mean, if you want it that way. I'm actually putting these trillions with the magatomas on the bottom, the two side ones, and the center one with the magatama on the top. You can do that however you want to. That's whatever's aesthetically pleasing to you. I'm going to go down now through this pearl. Well, let me show you what I got here. Magatama on top, down through the pearl, just the pearl. Sorry, I'm working awkwardly here. And then pick up an 11-0 and go through the bottom of that gem duo. Pick up an 11-0 and go through the other side of your rondelle, opposite the side you were coming out of to begin with. Sorry, this is in my way here. Things are just slip sliding all over the place. And their connection looks like that. And what we're going to do is follow that thread path and just reinforce it. Probably going to do it 2 more times. And then I will see you back here. Alrighty, I have finished adding this connector and reinforcing it. And I went ahead and went through several beads and tied 3 half hitches and went through a couple more beads and burned it off. And then I also connected it on the other side in exactly the same way at the pearl. So both sides are done. So now we're going to work on the necklace part. And I did go ahead and do it on this side. So we are going to do it on the other side. And you can either, you can go ahead and do your other connection first, or if you want to wait, just leave all that off and go ahead and finish this whole side and then go back and do the whole other side, however you want to do that. I have added half a wingspan of thread to my needle, and I'm going to go through a couple of beads down from where I want to come out of, which where I want to come out of is the central bead, the bead that is opposite this center bead here, that one. So I'm going to just go through some beads here and tie some half hitches. And I am now coming out of this bead that's right across from the center bead here. And I'm going to pick up an 11-0 and a gem duo. Again, you want to make sure that your gem duo is poofy side up. Another 11-0. actually 3 more, not 4 11-ohs. 11-oh gem duo, 4 11-ohs. Sorry if I'm out of frame there. And go back down your gem duo on the other side. Pick up an 11-oh and back through the other side of your rondelle. Okay, I'm going to go through and reinforce that a few times, and we'll be back. I've reinforced that, and I'm coming out of this gem duo. I'm going to go up through 2 of them. Pick up an 11-oh. And a pearl. Scoot that down, and another 11-oh. 11-oh, pearl, 11-oh. Scoot that down. Come back down, skip the 11-oh, and come back down through the pearl. Pick up an 11-oh. And go back through the other 2 11-ohs. And it should look like this. I'm going to go back down through the gem duo. The 11-oh. Snag my thread. Sorry, de-threaded. Up through the rondelle. And the 11-oh on the gem duo. And up through all of those 11-ohs, but you might have to catch them. 2 and then 1. And through the pearl. And you can go right up through that 11-oh if you can catch that too. Alright, we're now going to add pearl and 11-oh. And pearl and 11-oh. And we're going to do that until you get the length that you want. And when you get that length, we'll be back to add the clasp. I added 17 of them, and I think it's going to give me about maybe a 16 to 18 inch with the clasp on. But whatever length you want it, because we also add a gem duo at the end of this. So we'll be back once you get all your pearls and your 11 O's on. We have all of our pearls on, and I'm going to add now an 11O. Oop, not that one, because it doesn't seem to be patent. My gem duo and 5 11Os. And then just pull that on down through the other side of your gem duo. And pick up an 11O. Go back down through the pearl and the 11O below it. And we're going to kind of finagle that and pull it snug. Pull up here on the 5 and then pull the gem duo and pull the pearl and kind of pull everything snug. And then we're going to skip that pearl we're coming out of and go back up through, the 11O. Skip that 11O we're coming out of that 11O. We're going to skip it and go back up through the pearl and through the 11O below the gem duo. Pull everything kind of snug, kind of finagle it. Back up through the gem duo and up 3 of those 11Os on the top. Sorry, my thread keeps catching my bead mat here. Make sure everything's snug. And then we're going to pick up 9 of these 15Os that are in this kind of light coppery color. Now, if you don't have the collection, or even if you do, you can use these. If you have the collection, you can use these little blue 15Os if you want. If you don't have the collection, of course, you can use the same 15Os you've used. Did we use any 15Os? Yeah, the same 15Os you used on the other components. Or you can choose a different one. Again, your choice. So I've got 9 of them. I'm going to come back through the 11O, the other side of the 11O I'm coming out of. And then I'm going to go through one of the 15Os, pick up a 15O, go through the next 15O, pick up a 15O, through the next 15O. Did I skip one? No. Okay, that's just poking out wrong. Poked out in the wrong direction, but that's okay. We'll fix that later. Sorry. One 15O in between these two 15Os. Pick up a 15O and go into the next 15O. Caught again. Pick up a 15O, go into the next 15O. Then we're going to skip the next 15O and just go into the one following it. Pick up a 15-0 to the next 15-0. Pick up a 15-0. Go into the next 15-0. Pick up a 15-0 and go into the final 15-0 and into that 11-0. You might have to tease those pokey outy beads to poke out. You should have something that looks like this. And what you're going to do is go through and reinforce that a couple more times, and then we'll be back. I would skip the poking out beads, the pokey out beads, and just go through the inner circle. And we'll do that 2 times, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've finished reinforcing this a couple of times, and that's what it looks like. And we're going to get one of our, well, we need our clasp here. I have lost my jump rings. Sorry, I should have had that handy already. So we're going to put our clasp on with a jump ring. I still have my thread on here because also we need to, let's get this on, we'll talk about that. That's on. Need to just, I've reinforced it, I'm coming out of that 11-0. You just need to go down your thread path here. And honestly, what I did on the other side, and I will do on this side too, is go back down through the gem duo and the 11-0 and through the pearl. And then I went all the way down the pearl strand. All the way down this pearl strand. And where I started following my thread path and tying off half hitches was down here at the bottom of it. And on the Chaton section. So you can go ahead and do that on your own, and that a mess here. That finishes it up. And I also made some earrings out of this, which I probably won't do a video on because they're very similar to this. I just did I did it like so. I'll put a picture up, but just did it like so. But I oriented the connection differently so that it made more sense to me. I will put a picture up of that, and if you want to do that, it's really the same components. It's the Chaton and the trillion component. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it with your beady friends, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you'll see more when I put them out. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time. Bye.